was April 20th, 1999, and my secretary ran into my office and said, Frank, there'd been a report of gunfire. And so the first thing that crosses my mind is it has to be a senior prank. This can't be happening at Columbine. And as I ran out of my office, my worst nightmare became a reality. I saw a gunman coming towards me. And he had on a baseball cap turned backwards, black vest, white t-shirt, jeans and boots. And all I can remember is gunshots being fired, the glass breaking behind me. And I was in a state of panic, thought my life was over. And one of the most difficult things for me to live with is a lot of survivor's guilt. Not only did we lose 13, 12 students, and Mr. Sanders, a dear friend of mine. And the thing that just still sends chills up and down my spine is knowing that they were planning on blowing up the school. These were two kids that had so many people fooled. These were kids that Harris tried to get into the military. He wanted to be a Marine. Klebold had been accepted into the University of Arizona. And so his parents are thinking everything's great. He's going to be in college next year. Harris wants to serve our country. And so they really did a fantastic job of covering it up and keeping it from people. They documented everything they were going to do about a year prior. They made what they called these basement tapes. They talked about everything they were going to do. They had a hit list, people that they wanted to get even with. And so it was very difficult to watch those tapes and get some of that information that was given in those tapes. As a matter of fact, they stated it's unfortunate that people are not going to find these tapes because it's going to be too late. Harris had no respect for life. And just by some of the things that he stated, he was infatuated with Adolf Hitler. He read Adolf Hitler's work in Mein Kampf. He believed very strongly in survival of the fittest. He felt that the weaker should perish. Klebold was more suicidal, probably sociopath. But in reading Mrs. Klebold's book, she really feels pretty strongly that he was going through a depressed state. He had, not lacking mental health, but mental illness. We had situations at Columbine that there was a concern about some of their writings. Well, the counselor dealt with it. The assistant principal dealt with it. I was involved. We called the parents in. We did a threat assessment, but that was done at the school. What we were unaware of is they had a hit list that was shared with the local police officers. That information was not shared with the school. And so I think the big difference between then and now is people are working together. You have the police who are working with school officials, who are working with mental health workers, who are working with the judicial system, and we're all coming together. So if that practice would have been in place back then, I truly believe that we would not have lost 13. And I think what happens so many times is there are students probably within your own school throughout the country, throughout the world, that make comments, gosh, I am so upset I could kill someone, or I am so upset I want to blow up my school. But I think people never took it seriously. And I really believe as members of society, members of your high school, that you need to err on the side of caution, because there's research out there that most of these killers do some type of broadcasting somewhere along the line. It's being able to find out what is happening prior to. So the key for us to create safe environments is for all the students that are in that school, that if they see something that's not right, if they see an upperclassman pushing someone else, or if they get on one of these social networks and they see something's inappropriate, then they need to report that. And it's not necessarily to get people in trouble, it's to save others. So now, instead of having just the administrators, 5 or 6, you have 1,500 people who have their eyes and ears